He's a best-selling author. He's a director. He's an actor. He makes great movies that make us laugh, make us think, make us feel. Please, everybody, welcome Kevin Smith.
How's everybody doing? Okay, so this is exciting for me. I came a few years ago, had a really good time. We can turn the lights up. Please let's not make it I'm not going to jerk off, so turn the lights on. When I start reaching my pants, then dim the lights. Because that's when I don't want to see people. Where I'm like, no, it's coming, hold on.
You can bring the lights up. Bring them all the way up. We're all friends. Come on, if everyone's gonna look at me being fat, why can't I look at them being fat? This is really cool for me. Last time I came here, I got up and did the usual bullshit that I do, fucking just talking and making jokes and shit, and that's really not MacWorld oriented. This year, though, when they called me up, it was the big year. The year I was waiting for. They said, Kevin, you want to come out to MacWorld and introduce Steve Jobs? And I was just like, absolutely, man. Fucking that's awesome. Because I can talk to him and shit and be like, hey, I got a Pixar video and make James on Bob. Don't split. So I'm hoping, he'll be here in like an hour. They keep telling me backstage. They just told me to vamp until he gets out here and shit. And when he does, then we're going to do some fucking genius. Because who would ever have MacWorld without Steve Jobs, right? So
he's on his way, man. He's on his way. Meantime, we can talk about anything else you want to talk about. Does it get any brighter or is it just dark? It's so dim. I feel like Dracula could come out. Are there mics? Is there somebody who I'm talking to? I guess you guys thought I like came with shit. I don't do that. I literally show up, people start talking to me, and then I talk back to them, and that's how we go. But if you guys are silent, I'll just
Hey, what's up?
as well. Yes. How are you?
How you doing, Kevin?
Good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you, too.
Thanks for coming to
I met you
MacWorld.
outside of...
Or as we call it this year, MacWorld.
I actually met you outside of test screening for Jersey Girl.
Yeah.
I rated it high for you.
Did I look depressed?
But we were inside a...
Did I pull you aside? I was like, let's go for a drink, man. Next time my buddy tells me cast my girlfriend, I'm gonna fucking say no, dude, no. Did you see those scores? Where do you live? Can I go hang out with you? Is that the guy? Were you the dude or no?
No.
Okay.
But we were inside...
Thanks for going with me on that one. It's a real flight of fancy, man. Instead, we're back down in practical reality. And Steve Jobs still isn't here. Fuck. Okay, go ahead. Ask the question.
I had two things.
Okay.
What do you think of Avatar? That's what I was going to ask.
What do I think of Avatar? I can talk about that. I didn't see it until a couple weeks ago, and not because I was like, oh, fuck Jim Cameron, I'm too cool. I was busy working on another movie that won't be nearly as successful.
My friend just told me it was caught. I didn't know that.
To it in the theaters and shit like that, like opening first, second, third, 4 weeks. I don't think I saw it for the first 4 weeks. And they made me a member of the Academy a few years ago, and so every fall they send me bootleg pirated movies all the time. It's amazing. That's why I can't understand. The MPA is always like, we gotta stop this piracy. I'm like, you gotta send me free movies all the time. It's a conflicting message. So the pile was sitting there and shit, and the wife usually dictates what we watch, which is why we never watch my movies. And I was like, listen, tonight should be the night. You wanna watch Avatar tonight? And she's like, oh man, I don't know. And I was like, come on, it's fucking free. It's free Avatar. It's just like, I cost it. And we watch it on TV, and I have a very large TV in my room that almost makes it like a cinematic experience.
So you didn't see it in 3D, though?
I didn't see it in 3D?
Did you?
I didn't even finish telling the fucking story. How do you know?
Sorry. It's fucking great.
I'll shut up.
But I didn't. Anyway. So we're sitting there, I'm like, all right, let's pop it in. We pop it in and shit. And the first half hour I found like the dialogue to be really stiff and whatnot. The first few shots, like of the CG world and the big blue cats, when all of a sudden when they introduced the first fucking Thundercat, I was like, wow, this because it looks like the Thundercats mixed with the Smurfs, you know? So it dialed into the Saturday morning cartoon fan in me where I was just like, this is great. Are they going to go on the wacky races next? By the time we got a half an hour in, and like me and my wife were just kind of cracking on and shit, doing a little Mystery Science Theater and making fun of our betters, our filmmaking betters. And about a half hour in, all of a sudden we stopped making fun of it. Like we were just like, it's fucking dumb, right? Fucking blue, everything's blue, fucking jungle blue, cats fucking in the woods, big deal. And then all of a sudden, like she's training him and shit, and she's just like, this is how, you know, we do it here in Pandora. We and the land are one, fucking cats and shit. And the wife, you know, it sounded very yoga-like, and so that appealed to my wife, who's kind of into yoga and whatnot. So she was just like, oh, this is, well, maybe it just got a little better. I was like, don't buy into this shit. And she's like, no, but there's, you know, it's true. The people in the land are one, and it's a good-looking tree. And Pandora's a pretty place, you know? Can Jake Sully save it? And she just suddenly bought the fuck into it, man. And I was left making fun of it by myself. And so I'm still trying to make fun of it, and she's like, Kevin, just stop it. Not everything's funny. She was so busy, I've only ever seen her do that one time. We saw the Blair Witch Project. We weren't even married at that point. We just kind of met, and I had knocked her up accidentally, and she was living in my house. So I didn't know her that well, you know. And a friend of mine, John Pearson, was one of the producers reps on Blair Witch, so he had sent me a tape back when we had tape and shit. Right before he went to Sundance that year, and it was just about to debut. And I think 2 days before, people started talking about it on the internet and whatnot. So I knew what it was, and Pearson had told me what it was and shit. And I assumed that Jen knew what it was, because she was well-read, and she came from journalism and shit. She worked for USA Today. So I figured she might have had her ear to the ground. So I was like, hey man, you want to watch Blair Witch Project? It was like 11 o'clock at night. And she's like, what is it? I was like, it's a movie a friend of mine brought up to Sundance. She's like, all right. And we put it in, and I just started falling asleep and shit. And all of a sudden I got woken up with a punch to my face. And she was like, what the fuck? She's like, get up! Get up! Why won't anyone help them? And I was like, what are you talking about? We didn't have a kid at this point, so I wasn't like worried that she was talking about Harley, but I was like, who's them? And why, do we need help? Why are you referring to us as the third person? Like, I was very confused and still half asleep. She's like, why won't anyone help him? Get up, look! Oh my God, he's just standing facing a wall. Stop it, Mike! You know, like yelling at the screen. And like she was invested, like she was betting on a fucking horse race or something like that. And I was like, what are you talking? What are you doing? She's like, I don't understand. How can people call this entertainment? We're watching them die and nobody will go look for these children. And I was just like, this is a fucking picture, man. This is a picture at Sunday. This is one of those Sundance pictures you read about. Like, this isn't real. And she was like, are you sure? I was like, why the fuck would they like you think they just found some dead kids' tapes and like, let's make a movie? And nobody was like, should we go look for the kids? And they're like, nah, let's take the Sundance instead, you know? I thought the kids turn up or something like that. So I had to call up John Pearson. She's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, telling you, John Pearson gave me this tape. She's like, no, he didn't. And I was like, he did. I'll call him up. So I called John Pearson, and he was up at the Sundance. And I was like, hey man, can you talk to this girl, Jennifer Schwalbach? Because I didn't know her that well at this point. And, you know, she would have my baby, but that's all I knew. And I said, can you talk to this girl, Jennifer Schwalbach, and tell her that, like, this Blair Witch Project is not real and shit? And he goes, all right, have a phone. I give her the phone, and I just look at her, and she's literally crying. She's so fucking distressed. And she's like, hello? Hello, John. But why won't anyone help them? It's not. Are you sure? Why would you tell me this? All right, bye. And then she yelled at me for the next hour for not being clear about what we were going to watch in the future. So every time I go to watch something, I'm like, this picture is called Return of the Jedi. None of the Ewoks really die because it didn't really happen. But I just want to put that out there in Front Street still in case you start kicking me and acting crazy. During Avatar, she literally got into a fight with me. I just like watching a movie, and eventually, like when shit starts to get rolling in the first hour, after the first hour, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see why everyone digs this and shit. It's like Star Wars, but like better. But not the original Star Wars, the new Star Wars. But it's very much like the new Star Wars, because it's a big video game and shit. So I don't know, I enjoyed it for what it was. The kid in me totally appealed to me and shit. And I'm with the cats. I'm totally with the big blue fucking cats, you know? Especially the one lady cat who was sexy and I wanted to fuck her.